All right, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the seasons and what you might fish for and how you might fish for fish during certain seasons. We'll start like in January to March is what we consider the winter season. In that time of year, not a lot of variety of fish. You're going to have redfish, some trout, and sheep's head. Redfish probably being the most dominant thing you might fish for. Redfish are going to be, in the wintertime, the water is as cold as it's been. They've been a little bit lethargic. They're not eating a lot, so the metabolism is really low. So if you're working lures, you're going to work them really slow. And if you think you're working them too slow, work them slower. It's not going to be like the summer where we're going to move them much faster. You're going to be looking for the calm, warm, sunny days. Those are probably going to be your better days. The cold, windy days may be a little slower, tougher fishing. As we get into March and April, definitely the sheep's head pick up quite a bit. You're going to fish, a lot of fiddler crabs, some clams, stuff like that, some shrimp. The sheep's head will start schooling up to spawn in the spring, so that's usually a pretty good bite. Once we get to, April is kind of a transition month. When we get from May until I'd say September, we're in what we call summer mode. In the summer, it's really great. Pretty much have almost every fish in the Atlantic Ocean available to us at some point somewhere. Inshore, we'd have our same redfish, trout, flounder, sheep's head, black drum, but we also have stuff like Spanish mackerel, ladyfish, bluefish, sharks, tarpon, jack crevalle, and cobia, sometimes near shore. So we have a great variety of fish. And it's a very good fishery in the summer. It's hot. We have days, over 100-degree heat index. But fishing early in those times of year is very important, early or late in the day. You can use all kinds of stuff from top waters, all kinds of plastic, various things like that. The fish are going to be very aggressive early in the mornings. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be feeding a lot. They're going to have, pretty big metabolism. There's going to be a lot of variety of baits. The water tends to be a little dirtier in the summer, so we do tend to fish a lot of baits, live bait like mud minnows, finger mullet, live shrimp. I do some artificial fishing, but the windows of that are a little smaller, and some fly fishing as well throughout the year. But the summertime, there's a lot of bait, a lot of varieties of fish. In the fall, probably my absolute favorite time of year to fish here in Charleston, from let's say late September to December, is probably bar none the very best time to be fishing in inshore fishery in Charleston. You're going to have as we get past September and you get into October, most of the migratory fish like tarpon, jacks, sharks, ladyfish, bluefish, they're going to be gone. You're going to be left with redfish, trout, flounder, black drum, some sheep's head. However, those fish are going to feed ferociously most hours of the day. It's going to be your best time of year for high numbers of fish. It's not uncommon to have a 50 fish day in 3 or 4 hour trip, and maybe even up to, I've had many fishes up to 100 for 3 or 4 people fishing. But that is probably also your best time of year to fly fish as far as numbers of fish to be caught. I had several trips last year where we caught over 50 fish on fly in 4 or 5 hours. Redfish and trout mostly, some flounder, and sheep's head are a little harder to fly, but you can catch a few of those if you work hard at it. But those fish are going to be feeding pretty much most of the day. It's cooler. There's not as much bait. The fish are going to be very hungry. They're trying to, just like bears, they're going to be feeding to stock up for the winter. So you're going to find fish that are going to feed much longer periods of the tide. The tide doesn't have to be just perfect, and they're still going to bite. They're going to eat more varieties of stuff. As the water clears up in the fall and early winter and there's not much bait, that's when the artificials are extremely valuable. You don't have to get live bait. You can go and throw lures like this or almost any lure or fly, and they're going to eat those pretty easily. They can see them better when the water's clear, so they're going to have a longer visibility and ability to see these lures from further away, and they're going to be more apt to go get them because their metabolism is still really high, but there's not much food in the water for them, so they're looking to eat anything they see, basically. Absolutely my favorite time of year. You got to get out and fish in the fall if you haven't done that here.